Well, I'm absolutely delighted today to be talking with a friend of mine, John Ling. Now, John will be known to CI supporters as the author of a very popular booklet called When Does Human Life Begin? If you don't know him, then you need to know that John is a freelance writer and speaker and consultant on bioethical issues. He studied at Leeds, Pennsylvania State and Nottingham Universities. He was a lecturer in biochemistry and bioethics at the University of Wales in Aberystwyth. He was a co-founder of Evangelicals for Life. He has lectured, debated, broadcast and written on life issues for over 30 years and has travelled all over the world to do so. So, John, it's absolutely delightful to have you with us, and thank you for making time to speak to us. We reported recently that the number and the rate of abortions in England and Wales has reached an all-time high. Figures from the Department of Health also revealed a sharp rise in unsupervised chemical abortions, where women can take abortion pills at home if the unborn child is less than 10 weeks old. Just my first question to you, John, about these stats is, what's the difference between the number of abortions and the rate of abortions?
Well, the number is the total. And the total for 2020, which is what has been released then from the Department of Health and Social Care last month, is what's happened in England and Wales. And that big figure is 210,860. So that's 210,860. And as you say, that is the highest ever. And in many ways, it's abhorrent and it's ethically reprehensible. But that's what we're faced with. That's what's happened last year. And it's gone up and up every year. Now, the rate is how many abortions there are per 1,000 women. And that's gone up as well. The two go together in that sense. And it's difficult to get a handle on those sorts of figures. But the figure I find easiest to think about is there must be in England and Wales on every weekday about 800 abortions. So that's 800 every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday. You can grip that. And it's horrendous. There's nowhere to hide, is there, from that sort of figure? It mocks us. It really does, as a society, as a country.
It does, absolutely. And why do you think the number and the rate of abortions have gone up?
Well, they've been going up every year, and I guess it's for many, many reasons. Sexual mores, certainly one reason. A lot more women are getting pregnant and wish they weren't. Under stress and strain, jobs, careers, family breakdown, easy relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends. Women are getting pregnant, there's no doubt about that. And about 1 in 4 of their pregnancies are ending up as terminating by abortion.
And what role do repeat abortions take, where in these figures, where the same woman is having multiple abortions?
I'm always surprised by this, and I think people that are watching will be surprised as well. Last year, there were 88,000 women who had already had one abortion who had another one in 2020. And on top of that, there were a colossal 131 women, 131 who had had 8 or more previous abortions. So they're using abortion as some sort of contraceptive. It's a staggering number. All of these figures are staggering, I think, in so many ways.
And so DIY home abortions, they were meant to be temporary under COVID regulations passed in March 2020. But like so many temporary government measures, there's a risk they'll become permanent, isn't there?
There is. I suspect in some ways they've become more popular. I think they're, for many women, very many girls, they're going to be very traumatic. They're having abortions at home. They've got to get rid of an embryo, a fetus, in some way. The fetus will be less than 10 weeks old, but it's still sizable, and there may be no one around. Home is meant to be the safe place. There's no medical supervision of these poor women and poor girls who are having these so-called DIY abortions. And one, like you say, suspects that the government may just take the easy way out and say, oh, we'll make it permanent, forget the COVID regulations.
And what about disability abortion? I mean, there is no doubt that this is the one glimmer of hope amid these very dark facts about abortion, which is that there is a growing opposition to the idea that we abort unborn children solely because they have a disability. What do these new figures say about that?
Well, I'm not so encouraged, perhaps, as you are. I think as a society, we have a strange relationship with the handicapped, the disabled. We love them. We put in facilities for them. We encourage them to get jobs, help them to get jobs. And yet we're still aborting over 3,000 of them every year. In 2020, the number was 3,100. Under what is known as ground E, there are 7 grounds for abortion in this country. E is the handicap, so-called handicap one. It's not proven handicap. Some of these abortions will be on non-disabled children, but that's how it is. But the figures, they hang around 3,000. One would hope that they're going to go down, and they have gone down from the previous year. But well, what's going to happen next year and the previous year and so on? But against that, against the handicap ground E abortions, there are the great C, the ground C abortions, which are 98% of all abortions, 98% of that 210,860 figure. And they are for all sorts of reasons. Now, we're not going to mock women's reasons or suggest that they're not taking this abortion seriously, but there can be trivial reasons under ground C. It's mainly for the risk of mental and physical ability for the women, and 98% of those are for mental reasons. And you only have to say, well, look, I'm in a second year of my university course, or I've booked a holiday or whatever. I'm not suggesting that all of these are trivial reasons, but that they do include such reasons.
So how can we persuade people who support abortion to think again? What sort of arguments do you think work to help persuade people to reconsider?
I think the great thing in terms of education is to explain what is going on in an abortion, but what in particular is being aborted. I think most people are unaware of the development of the unborn child. I mean, 3 weeks into a pregnancy, the heart of the unborn child starts beating. 6 weeks, there've been blood going through the body, brain waves are detectable, and so on. We're not talking about just a collection of cells. You and I were once embryos and fetuses and so on. And it's the thing that I found most difficult to grasp when I was looking into these issues 40 years ago. And it was quite a shock to realize what was going on, not what was only going on in terms of the development of the unborn child, as fascinating, brilliant, wonderful as that is. If you're a biologist, you'll be fascinated. If you're not a biologist, you should be fascinated. But just that we can then turn around and say, your life is not worth living, and we're going to take that life. And so where is the dignity? Where is the wonderfulness of new human life? It's something that we should all be protecting, and we should all be caring, not just simply going on this tram line to an abortion clinic and it's all over within an hour or two. there's something seriously more going on in terms of abortion than this. I'm keen that although we've looked at statistics and they show us the extent of abortion, but I think we don't want to hide behind those statistics. There's a callousness to abortion that I wouldn't want anyone to forget. It is a barbaric and a bloody reality that is every abortion, and we should never forget that and what it does to the unborn child.
Well, John, thank you for talking to us today about such an important issue, and thank you for all the work that you've done on this over the decades.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for watching today. If you want to know more about John's work, you can visit his website, johnling.co.uk. If you want to see his booklet that he wrote for the Christian Institute, When Does Human Life Begin? You can get that at our website, christian.org.uk, or you can telephone the Christian Institute's offices and we'll send you a free copy in the post. But thank you again for joining us today. Goodbye and God bless.